RPGs are the most well-known games on the PS1. It was the golden age for RPGs. Everyone's played Final Fantasy VII, Chrono Cross, Xenogears, Parasite Eve, and many, many more games. Some people think that Final Fantasy VII is very overrated, and honestly I agree, but it is one of the best-selling games on the console, and it is a pretty dang good game, so I mean, it makes sense to why people like it so much. And there's many other games like Legend of Dragoon that was made by Sony, and you know, I think that's a little bit more underappreciated, but still well known, and people love that game as well. There's a lot of good iconic RPGs on the system, but there are some that people don't really talk about hardly ever. Today, I'm going to go over 7 different games that are RPGs on the PS1 that are actually not Squaresoft games, by the way, but are just kind of underappreciated, I feel like. Definitely known, I'd say, to a degree, but definitely underappreciated, and they kind of fall under that radar. Each one of these games was made by a different company, and it's not Squaresoft, so definitely got some variety here. Without further ado, let's dive into this list of 7 underrated PS1 RPGs that are worth playing today. Number 1. Jade Cocoon is definitely an underappreciated game. I think people do know about this one, but it's definitely interesting. So, fun fact, the character artist here is the same guy from Studio Ghibli, and you'll notice that right away, so that's pretty cool. You play as this guy named Levin, and of course you're a silent protagonist, and it's like a very village themed here that you start in, and you have to follow in your dead father's footsteps to become a cocoon master. This game's gimmick here is you can actually capture these monsters, these big bug things you see, and you can use them to defend you, kind of like a Pokemon deal here going on. Technically speaking, this game is probably one of the most impressive RPGs. There is voice acting in the entire game, at least up to the part I was at, and that's pretty dang impressive. This game also just looks pretty good for a 3D model game on the PS1. This game uses fixed cameras to see where you're going, so it's a little different than a traditional RPG, as well as whenever you want to explore other parts of the town or in the world, you select where you want to go. It's pretty linear to that degree. This game was only on the PS1, it's never been re-released, but Jade Cocoon is definitely an interesting one, probably one of the more interesting games on this list, so not a very long RPG either, so it's over like 12 hours or so. Give this one a look if you want to see more about this game. Number 2. Guardians Crusade. I just reviewed this game a few weeks ago. This one is definitely under the radar though. On scale, this game is pretty much what you would expect. It's a pretty traditional RPG, but with a twist to it. So you play as a knight, and you have this like pink baby hippo dragon thing that you gotta escort to its mom across the world. And you go on an adventure, you fight monsters, you go into dungeons, you go into towns, and it's the whole 9 yards. But this game is really charming. It's got a fun world to explore, the analog controls are decent here too, and the towns are also fun, and the combat's fun. You use these things called living toys, and you'll find them all the time in the game, and they essentially are like support characters, so it's really fun. I'll just go ahead and say it, a lot of these games are stuck on this console, so just gonna let you know. So Guardians Crusade is the same, it's only on the PS1, but this one's really fun. It's also an easy too, so not much of a challenge, but still fun. You want a laid-back RPG, and good for beginners, Guardians Crusade's definitely one you should check out. Number 3. Codelco is for sure an overlooked game, as well as it's one of the most expensive games on the system, and it's a 4-disc game because there's a lot of texture rendering as well as a lot of voice acting. On the surface, this game pretty much looks like Resident Evil or something like that, but it doesn't really play the same at all. In fact, it's a tactical RPG. Whenever you get to the battle, you have these full 3D battles here, and they're pretty cool. You can go around the grid here and decide where you want to go, and you can shoot or attack or use magic, and it's really cool. Random encounters are a little excessive in this game, at least I thought, but nonetheless, I still like the concept of this one quite a bit. This would be a cool game to play in like October or something. It just has kind of that spooky feel to it. But Codelco is definitely worth checking out at any time of the year. And of course, you may not even want to buy this game because it's over $200. So you know what you got to do to play this game. Definitely cool one though. Number 4. Legend of Guia is a game I've definitely heard of before. I actually had a friend at work who told me about this game many years ago, and this game definitely looks pretty cool on the surface. You play as this guy, he's a silent protagonist, and there's this evil force called the Mist or something like that. They're like these evil demons that are trying to get into your town. Your town's protected by this tree of life or something. Well, things go bad, they enter the town, and they try to destroy all of y'all and convert you to evil. The gameplay is definitely turn-based, but you can do combos and such, and you'll learn new arts as you do these combos. I thought that was kind of interesting with the combat, how it worked. On the surface though, I mean, it's pretty much your run-to-the-mill type of RPG you've seen before, but it's definitely worth your time to check out if you're an RPG fan, as well as the combo system is pretty cool too. Legend of Gaia, this is on my list to play someday. Check this one out. Number 5. Arc the Lad Collection was released in North America in 2002. However, it's 3 games in one, and they all came out in the 90s in Japan. This game is pretty much like Shining Force or Fire Emblem, and it's a tactical RPG, but pretty cool. I like the maps that you're on when you're fighting, as well as your different abilities you have, and the story itself is pretty cool. You play as a kid and you leave home because I believe your dad died, and your mom's just alone, and you tell her you'll come back someday to see her. Well, you go on a quest and you meet people along your way, and you fight a lot of villains, bad guys, and all that kind of stuff, and overall, just a pretty good, solid game. This one is kind of pricey, it's about over $100 or so, so you'll definitely have to check this one out, and I think you might actually be able to get this on the PS3 store, and you can buy them individually for like $9.99 or so. So that's a very good way to check this game out and play it. Number 6. I've had my eye on Azer Dreams for years now, and I finally got a chance to check it out for myself, and I never hear anyone talking about this game. This game definitely takes notes from games like Pokemon, sorta, but the game is roguelike, so you're in these randomized dungeons, and you have these things called familiars, or monsters, or whatever you want to call it, and you get one at the beginning of the game, and he'll help you in combat. If you played a mystery dungeon game before, this is pretty much the same exact thing here, and you get random items, you level up, and it's a good time overall. You live in this little desert town out in the middle of nowhere, and there's this gigantic tower. The whole game takes place there, but it's humongous. So, I talk a lot about Konami on this channel, and man, this game is just awesome. I wish Konami would just still make games that are unique, like this one or whatever. They made so many games on the PlayStation. Azer Dreams was overlooked, and definitely play this one if you like the roguelike genre. Number 7. Rhapsody, a musical adventure, is a very interesting game on its own. This game, to me, is like a Disney princess movie mixed with anime, mixed with Fire Emblem. Like, that's literally what this is. Music is definitely the subject of this game, and there's a lot of good music tracks in this game, as well as there's sing-alongs. And it feels so good to hear. It's a really charming world, and it looks fantastic. It's very colorful and bright, and just looks very innocent. The gameplay itself, though, is a lot like Arc the Lad and Codelco, and it's a tactical RPG. And it looks like Super Mario RPG from a perspective point, but when you play it, it's actually pretty good, and it plays like the others, and it just has a good feel to it. This game is also on the DS as well as the Nintendo Switch, so you can actually play this on modern hardware. It's not on PS5, but randomly enough, the second and third game were Japan-only games on the PS1. We can now play those on modern hardware. Not too sure why they didn't port the first one to the PS5, but either way, you can play all 3 of them on the Switch. This one definitely has a feel-good vibe to it, so if you're looking for something that's uplifting and not super dreary or anything, Rhapsody Musical Adventure is definitely worth a look. And there you have it. Those are 7 underrated RPGs that you should definitely check out that were on the PS1. There's many other options I could have chosen for this video, but these 7 games really stuck out to me the most because they were all unique in their own way and they weren't made by Square. Not that this video is not any Square games or nothing, the games I just came across just happened to be non-Squaresoft games. RPGs really were a big deal when the PS1 came out because there were just so many. You know, the last system was Super Nintendo and Genesis, and they had a good amount of RPGs, but a lot of them stayed in Japan, so it was really nice to have a ton of different games to choose from on the PS1 that were localized. I want to hear what you guys have to say though. If there was something on this list that you wish was here, or what your choices would be, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear them. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this kind of content, be sure to give it a like. If you got something to say, leave a comment down below. And of course, if you want to see more content like this in the future, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy.